Now, a 2 News special report. Fighting our meth epidemic.
Take a plastic bottle, put in pseudoephedrine, mix with extremely toxic chemicals, and you can make 1 pot meth. But it's dangerous. You may also get this. Meth has been an issue in Oklahoma for years. Now it's become an epidemic.
The ripple effect that it has on everyone in the community. We all live with some type of a risk associated with meth.
Innocent people are getting hurt.
My partner's on fire.
Okay. It's destroying families and filling up prisons. It's draining tax dollars. Cleanup is time-consuming.
It is an extremely dangerous situation.
The public is growing frustrated.
When I can look out my window and see the house that they were cooking this stuff in, they put my kids in danger and my grandkids in danger. They can go bye-bye for a long time.
There are possible solutions, and some say now is the time for action.
What are you waiting on? Take a statewide approach, fix the problem, or let us do it.
Good evening, I'm Russ McCaskey. Methamphetamine. It's become a mess in Oklahoma. This is a record-breaking year. Close to 900 meth labs statewide. Here in Tulsa, we're averaging now more than 1 a day. Meth, it's ripping apart families, it's hurting innocent people, and it's jeopardizing public safety. We have a number of reports for you tonight focusing on all that. We'll also take a look at some possible solutions. We begin, though, with Sarah Goldenberg, who's focusing on family.
4 women, 4 different struggles with an addiction to meth.
And all it takes is just one time of getting high.
Their paths cross behind these prison gates at Eddie Warrior Correctional Center in Taft.
And once you go to prison, I mean, life looks different to you.
Right now, 26-year-old Corey Tierce is fighting the battle of her life for custody of her 3 children.
I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. But when I saw him after not seeing him for 6 months, like I was saying, my daughter actually asked me, "I thought you were dead, Mama." They didn't understand why I was gone.
Tierce just started serving a 5-year sentence for trafficking meth. She started using it with her dad at just 14 years old.
One day I walked in the bedroom and he was getting high, and I thought it was going to be cool to get high with him, and he didn't want to be a father, he wanted to be a friend. So he got me high with him.
When she got older, she continued the cycle.
I'd lock myself in my bedroom so I could get high and they wouldn't see it. And my son would always ask me, "Mom, are you going to the bedroom and locking yourself in there again?" He knew. They all knew.
For now, Tierce is taking it day by day.
That's all I can do is just pray about it, and then at night I'll sit there and I'll look at the pictures of my kids and I'll cry. And I can lay there and I can picture that I'm going to actually get to touch them or hug them. Maybe one day, you know.
Her story is a common one for the hundreds of women sentenced to prison across the state. Oklahoma has the highest female incarceration rate of any state in the country.
How often does the reason that they're here come up that it's meth?
I would say probably 8 out of 10 times. 8 out of 10 women that I would talk to, it's mostly all methamphetamines. And even if they're here for writing bad checks, it was because they were on methamphetamines or they were wanting the money to buy methamphetamines.
In 2002, 42-year-old Sherry Gaines was sentenced to 2 life sentences for manufacturing meth and child endangerment. She started using meth at 19 years old.
Before long, I was strung out before I even knew what strung out was.
It didn't take long before police grew suspicious, and she wound up here. After a sentence reduction, Gaines will be released sometime next year.
I never in a million years would have expected to get a life sentence. I mean, it was my first felony. And I felt hopeless and just, I don't know, numb. Like it wasn't real, like it wasn't happening to me.
Addiction to this potent drug has ripped apart families across Oklahoma.
I've missed out on their whole childhood. Baseball games, you know, first days of school. You can't get that stuff back.
Melanie Moen is just beginning to feel the loss of her 3 children growing up without her.
My son's 8, my daughter's 9, this one's 10.
She's only been at Eddie Warrior for a few months. She faces a 10-year sentence for manufacturing meth.
All I can do is tell them I'm sorry and just tell them that I'll change my ways and do better and be the mom I used to be and, you know, and more.
Many of the women we spoke with said they knew it was only a matter of time before they got caught. And now that they're in prison, they say this may have been the best thing that ever happened to them.
We're lucky we're here and we're not dead.
Statewide in 2010, nearly 1,400 women went through the Department of Corrections at a cost of $40 per inmate per day to taxpayers, and a much bigger price for families.
I'd go to bed at night. I'd get up in the morning, get my daughter off to school or whatever, cook her breakfast, you name it. I was an everyday mom. But no sooner than I got back from dropping my daughter off from school, I was getting high.
A judge sentenced Danielle Inman to 20 years in prison for manufacturing meth. DHS is filing to terminate custody of her 4-year-old twins. Meanwhile, her teenage daughter was placed in a separate foster family.
What do you feel like you're missing right now?
Everything important in life. Everything. You can't pinpoint any one thing. I'm missing watching my children play basketball outside, sitting with my dad and drinking a cup of coffee.
The women we spoke with know their problems won't end when they hand in their uniforms and leave prison behind.
I don't plan on just leaving everything at the gate. I know that my addiction is a lifelong thing. It's something that I'm going to have to continually fight against. I can't just say, it's over, I'm cured.
I don't care if I have to walk door to door and knock and say, please, I will find a job.
Those women have a tough road ahead. Sarah Goldenberg joins us. And Sarah, before we get to the women that you spoke with, I want to show people what meth is costing taxpayers. We have some information from the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics. It says just one meth lab can cost taxpayers around $350,000. That's when you factor in investigations, cleanup, incarceration, prosecution, and social services if children are involved, DHS and so forth. Times 900 meth labs statewide, that's potentially more than $300 million this year alone. So, Sarah, you know, with the women that you spoke with, that's probably not on their mind before they got caught. They're really just looking to get high, aren't they?
Yeah, unfortunately, Russ, it just takes one time. One time they try that drug and they possibly get addicted, and then all their other priorities, like their family, they just fall to the wayside. It really changes the brain chemistry.
Yeah, and that's what's so shocking. I think most people think, oh, I can try it and see if it will make me high. Just one time can make you high. We had a Facebook post from a woman named Lynn Cobb Davis, a former meth addict, and she says, we lost everything chasing that devil. People do. They lose everything. They lose their job, they lose their home, they lose their children, etc. Sometimes they end up in jail. It's so pervasive. In fact, the women you spoke with said that obviously they're there in jail, but the people they know are there because of drugs, most of them because of meth.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a meth epidemic. Most of the women we spoke with, they're there because of drugs. And if it's not, you know, they were using the drug or they got caught with the drug, it led to another crime. Using meth just led to another crime, like a robbery. Yeah,
you know, they seem remorseful when you were talking with them. I guess the question is, are they remorseful because of all the damage that they caused to their family members and the people whose lives they put in jeopardy, or are they just remorseful because they got caught?
You know, I believe they really are remorseful. They told us, you know, we expected to get caught. We thought it was only a matter of time. And it took being behind those prison walls for them to really understand the type of damage that they were doing to their families.
And some say it may have even saved their life.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Sarah, thanks. Now, we are encouraging you to speak out tonight, and you can do that several different ways through our website, kjrh.com, also through social media. Our planning editor, Chris Wiley, is monitoring all of that for us tonight, including our Facebook page as well as on Twitter through hashtag OKMeth. You can submit questions and comments. We also want to hear from you if you have possible solutions. And following this broadcast, join us for a roundtable discussion as we talk with experts about the best ways to fight meth. We have several guests who are in our studios for us tonight. State Senator Kim David of Wagoner, State Representative Mike Ritz from Broken Arrow, State Representative David Derby from Owasso, Tulsa County District Attorney Tim Harris will also be with us, Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics Director Daryl Weaver will be here, and we have a pharmacist, Rebecca Stovall. We're going to be streaming that online at kjrh.com, so join us for that. You know, it's not just the drug addicts. Meth is also affecting innocent lives.
I was scared.
I know, man. We're on the way, honey. Be all right. We'll get you.
Oh, please.
Why you or someone you know may one day be in harm's way.
The most precious gift in the world is family. This is very evident during the holiday season. Drug and alcohol addiction tears apart families and destroys the lives of loved ones. Get your loved one back this holiday season by contacting Narconon Arrowhead today at 1-800-468-6933 or on the web at www.stopaddiction.com.
Jim Glover Chevrolet remains Oklahoma's #1 dealer, and we'd like to thank all of our amazing customers for keeping us there. In celebration, we're expanding our facility and bringing you the biggest savings of the year on America's brand, Chevrolet. Every vehicle has to be moved fast to make room for the construction. Right now is the time to buy. Save thousands on vehicles like America's best truck, the Chevy Silverado. Silverado gets the best gas mileage of any full-size pickup. Get behind the wheel of the extended cab Silverado for just $18,999 or just $249 a month. And don't miss an incredible $10,000 off on the stylish and highly functional Chevy Avalanche. With $10,000 off, they won't last long. If you're looking for the most award-winning car on the market, don't waste another minute. The 2012 Malibu gets 33 miles per gallon for just $18,999 or only $249 a month. Come experience the difference. We are Jim Glover Chevrolet, where Chevy runs deep. I-44 Memorial.
It's amazing how far $100 will go during the holidays at Mathis Brothers. And these doorbusters aren't just price great, but they're stock deep. So when you make the drive, you know you'll find what you came for. We're proud to offer these great values from today's leading manufacturers. These are just a few examples of the wonderful gift ideas we have in stock. So come see our tremendous selection of gifts and make your holiday budget stretch a little further at Mathis Brothers, just north of 71st off Highway 169.
Meth has become so prevalent in parts of Oklahoma, even those who've never seen the drug, much less tried it, are feeling the effects. 2 News reporter Casey Roebuck has more on the innocent victims of meth.
An early morning fire at the Royal Arms Apartments in South Tulsa claimed 2 lives and changed others. Nikki Kane was trapped in her apartment. She called 911 for help.
My apartment is on fire. I can't.
Okay.
Firefighters rushed to save her. Precious moments ticked away.
I was scared.
I know, man. We're on the way, honey. Be all right. We'll get you.
Oh, please.
Stay with you.
Firefighters found Nikki unconscious. She lived, but we're told she suffered brain damage. 2 others died in the fire. When the smoke cleared, firefighters realized it was started by a meth lab.
All these units.
We caught up with some of the firefighters who were at the scene that morning. It's a fire they say is still hard to talk about.
Anytime there's a rescue involved, the situation changes.
That whole common access area was heavily involved in fire, so it made it very difficult to tell which apartment was which.
Everybody was working as hard as they could, and it was a real tight situation. We couldn't get the equipment in. It's hard to get lines in. It's a long ways. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of fire. There's a lot of wind.
Crews who were there that day call this fire senseless. The apartments have been rebuilt, but no one can repair the damage done to innocent lives. Firefighters say it shows the far-reaching impact of meth.
But we just knew that the fact that it was a stinking big fire and there was a lot of people involved in it. And then when our first image of those people burn up, that was just, that won't leave us for a long time. I don't think it'll ever leave us as firemen when we see people like that.
The risk goes up beyond apartment living. Just ask Philip Brotherton and his family.
We realized that we needed a house to settle into, and, you know, we were looking through the market, and this is, I mean, we came upon a good deal and thought we were getting a good deal.
Philip Brotherton and his girlfriend, Kara Powell, bought this Midtown home when Kara was 7 months pregnant. Didn't take long for them to realize something was wrong. Kara started getting skin irritations. Then, a neighbor told them that a meth lab had been busted in their home. Even though the law requires it, they say the seller never disclosed this.
We finally had our house, you know, we were getting everything together, everything set up, and we were excited about to start our family, and then we find out that, and we had to move back into my mom's house, live there for a little bit over a month, and so he's a newborn, and we're like staying at my mom's house, and it was just not how we pictured our family starting out.
The Brotherton family spent more than $10,000 to make their home safe. That meant replacing all the attic insulation, the kitchen cabinets, and deep cleaning every surface. Because soft surfaces tend to soak up the toxins, Kara threw away all the baby clothes.
So I was more concerned for him because I didn't know what kind of effect that could have on him. It was really, really scary.
Once we find out how dirty your property is, then we can determine how we clean it.
Bill Coy owns Apex BioClean. He says depending upon a home's size and level of contamination, cleanup can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $19,000, none of which is covered by insurance.
People are just painting these places and encapsulating the contamination, and there's hundreds of homes in Tulsa, I'm sure that this has already happened to. If you do have a property that was busted as a meth lab, you need to have it tested and cleaned properly, and then that way you have your certificate of your fit-for-use document.
After talking with the experts, we built an interactive graphic that shows you signs of a meth house, and here's how it works. Just click on the icons, such as a smoke detector that may have been removed or taped off, or a ventilation system that may have also been altered. Outside the house, you'll find even more telltale signs, such as dead spots in the yard where chemicals may have been poured. These are all signs of a meth lab. You can find this information and more on the inside of a home at KJRH.com.
As for the Brotherton family, they finally feel safe in their home. And experts say no matter where you live, there are risks, all because of meth.
We all live with some type of a risk associated with methamphetamine, whether we live in an apartment complex or, in a neighborhood. The ripple effect that's caused by the hazards associated with it, we all live with that risk.
And it would appear that risk is growing. Casey Roebuck joins us now. Casey, I think the thing that scares me watching your story, and probably a lot of people, is people are moving into homes every day. They don't know the history, per se, of that home. The Brothertons, what's Philip and his family doing?
They are involved in litigation with the seller, but here's the problem. Usually if a seller could afford to clean up the house properly, they would have done so initially. So if you go after these sellers, there's no guarantee that they're going to have the assets so that you'll see a dime of that.
Yeah, exactly. You talked to some real estate experts. What advice do they have in dealing with a home where it may or may not have been a meth home?
Well, keep in mind, all home sales in Oklahoma, they're required to disclose this. It's actually part of the contract itself, but of course they don't always do that. So you can always check online registries. TPD has one online. You can actually see all the maps of locations, and the DEA has an online registry as well, and you can find all of those on KJRH.com.
Now, you started your story with some of the video from the Royal Arms fire, and that was one where there was death and so forth for innocent people, but there have been others. We had one just a couple of weeks ago right here in northwest Tulsa. It claimed the life of a 15-month-old child. Here's some video from that situation. 4 adults survived. Some of them are facing charges related to meth. That case, of course, still has to work its way through the system. But, Casey, I mean, you talk about how times have changed. Just a couple of years ago when firefighters went to a fire or when police officers responded to a call, they thought it was kind of just a routine call. Now it almost has to be in the back of their mind because meth is so pervasive that there's a chance there could be a meth lab. There's a chance that there could be an explosion and chemicals involved and all that kind of thing.
They have to go into pretty much every fire wondering if that could be a factor, and it's a huge burden on them. But keep in mind, it's a huge burden on law enforcement as well. In 2007, TPD saw 20 meth lab busts. This year to date, more than 400.
Yeah, and that's really remarkable when you think about it. And 2007 is when they moved the pseudoephedrine behind the counter, which saw the big decrease and so forth. All right, Casey, thanks for your report tonight. You know, with meth epidemic spiraling out of control, some are asking, what can be done to stem the tide? Could Oklahoma find the solution in another state?
A prescription for pseudoephedrine will end home meth labs in your state.
When we come back, we're going to take a look at possible solutions, the pros and cons.
Furniture, 911 East Dewey, Sapulpa stocks nearly 20 sectionals. This Lane 3-piece sectional's internet price is $1997.95. This Lane brown leather 3-piece sectional's internet price is $2345.95. Oyster colored sectional, $999.95. Ashley brown and golden sectional's internet price is $1149.95. Brown and mocha colored sectional, $599.95. Bob Loftus Furniture. Get Tulsa competitive prices at one of our 5 locations.
You'll hear folks around Oklahoma use words like tough, dependable, innovative when they talk about Ford F-Series trucks. But the word we prefer is best. Ford F-Series is the best-selling truck brand. That's why only we can say Ford trucks are the best in Oklahoma.
From all of our family at Gilbert's Audiology and Hearing Aid Center to your family, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Sade Music Company is the place to shop this holiday season. We have everything you need for any musician on your list. Sade's personalized service will help you find the perfect gift. Choose from a great selection of pianos, guitars, drums, wind and stringed instruments, gifts, books, and accessories. No matter which instrument you choose, we have lessons for anyone of any age or skill level. Shop at Sade Music Company. We have everything you need.
Your forecast, your way. Download the 2 Works For You weather app today.
Monday night, we taught you Smartphone 101, and last night showed you the best ways to protect your smartphone. Tune in tonight as we weigh in on the pros and cons of smartphones versus tablets. Getting smartphone savvy continues tonight at 10.
You don't have to live in Oklahoma long to realize meth is a major problem. But how do we solve it? Some state lawmakers think that the answer may be found in Oregon. We sent 2 News anchor Justin Wilfon to Portland to see if their solution could also work here.
It's a weekday afternoon on the streets of Portland, Oregon. Portland police officers are on patrol looking for crime, but these days they're finding less of one kind. Sergeant Jay Bates with the Drug and Vice Division remembers the way it used to be.
That's all we did all day, every day, was process methamphetamine labs.
That was years ago. In 2005, 192 meth labs were found across Oregon. Last year, only 13. So how did Oregon do it? Oregon State Senator Jenny Burdick was one of several lawmakers who came up with a solution.
We had just a meth lab epidemic that was fueled by the easy access to pseudoephedrine.
Pseudoephedrine is the key ingredient in the meth-making process. It's found in many popular cold and allergy medications. In 2004, drugs containing pseudoephedrine were moved behind the counter in Oregon, and the amount of it customers could buy was limited, similar to the system currently used in Oklahoma. Burdick decided for Oregon it wasn't enough.
It was on both sides of the aisle, the Democrats and the Republicans saw it as a crisis.
So they went to work, and in 2005, Oregon became the first state in the nation to make all drugs containing pseudoephedrine available by prescription only. Not everyone here in Portland agrees that the law has been a major success. One Portland drug rehabilitation center we spoke with that did not want to appear on camera told us after the law was passed, they saw only a slight reduction in the number of meth users coming into their center. Oregon's health authority agrees it hasn't done much to the number of addicts. Officials say meth is still being shipped into Oregon from surrounding states, even from Mexico. Even so, everyone we spoke with is in agreement. The law's been successful in greatly reducing the number of meth labs.
What we talked about yesterday were the different type of reporting systems each state has.
At this meeting at the Oklahoma State Capitol in October, Oklahoma State Senator Kim David asked for opinions from experts on whether making pseudoephedrine prescription only would reduce the number of meth labs in the Sooner State. She believes it would. While David admits getting a prescription for basic allergy medications may be a nuisance for Oklahomans, she feels it's worth the effort to help rid the state of meth labs and spare Oklahomans the high costs and safety risks the labs bring with them.
It's more of an inconvenience, though, for our taxes to drastically increase, for our police and fire officers to put their lives on the line, for the fires that happen. I mean, you can just go on down the list. What's a little inconvenience?
But Broken Arrow doctor and state representative Mike Ritz isn't sure the law is necessary.
It's going to create a much more intense situation for people having to come to the doctor for simple problems that could be solved with an over-counter medicine.
Instead, Dr. Ritz would like the state to join the National Precursor Log Exchange, already in use in 17 other states. Known as NPLEX, it operates in real time, allowing law enforcement to find out who's buying large amounts of pseudoephedrine. NPLEX would also track what accused Oklahoma meth cooks are buying across state lines, something Oklahoma's current system does not do. Back in Oregon, Senator Burdick says her law would be better for Oklahoma.
A prescription for pseudoephedrine will end home meth labs in your state.
Some interesting perspective from Portland, Oregon. Justin Wilfon joins us now. And Justin, obviously, the easiest fix, and some people say, why don't the pharmaceutical companies just come up with a tamper-proof form of pseudoephedrine?
Well, two companies claim they already have developed a tamper-proof form of pseudoephedrine, but when or even if those will ever hit the market is a matter of some debate. Now, tamper-proof would, of course, make it pretty much impossible for the meth cooks to make the meth, so it could be the nail in the coffin of the meth industry, but some wonder if the drug companies ever want there to be a tamper-proof form of pseudoephedrine, because they are, without question, to no fault of their own, making a lot of money off the meth industry.
Absolutely. So I guess until that happens, the big debate is what do you do with pseudoephedrine? Do you make it prescription only? And will that solve the problem? It sounds like from what you found out in Oregon that would certainly make a difference, but it's not going to be a magic bullet.
People believe it would be a magic bullet in getting rid of the meth labs, or at least most of them, but it would not be the magic bullet in getting rid of the meth. People still would be able to get it from other states, and we have plenty of other states close by here who would not have this law. People could also get it from Mexico, of course. I talked to a lot of people in Oregon and here, especially our local law enforcement agencies. They all support this. They want this to become law, but there's still a lot of question about whether or not there's going to happen, because there's two types of people who I talk with who do not like this proposed law. One, people who think it would be too big of a nuisance, and two, people who work for the drug companies.
Yeah. Real quickly, you also talked with a meth cook about this. Does he think that would make a difference?
Well, he says he thinks it would make a huge difference. He talks with people on the streets all the time who are still making meth, and they're terrified of this law. They believe it will work and greatly reduce their ability to get meth in this state.
All right, we'll see how it all turns out. Justin Wilfon, thanks for your report. Want to remind you we're going to continue talking about meth through a half-hour webcast. You can join lawmakers and decision makers as we continue the discussion. Go to kjrh.com. You can also submit questions and comments via our website and Facebook. And then on Twitter, the hashtag is OKMeth. So please voice your concerns, your questions there. Bottom line on this with meth is it's time for state lawmakers to join in this fight. Leaders of towns big and small are screaming for help. What we're doing now isn't working. Innocent lives, taxpayer dollars, public safety, children are all in jeopardy if we stick to the status quo. Now's the time for action, and in fact, now's the time for all of us to step up to the plate and help fix this problem. I'm Russ McCaskey. For all of us here at 2 News, good night.
2 News works for you on air, online, and on your mobile. Get connected, stay connected.